What are the best songs from Psalm 1? I'm Daniel Mount, joined today by my co-host Pastor Chad Berry, and we'll answer that question on today's episode of the Expository Songs podcast. We've each picked 5 songs, and we haven't compared notes. Pastor Chad, what's your number 5 song?
So my number 5 song was one that I had never heard before by one of my favorite hymn writers, Isaac Watts, which is "Blessed is the Man Who Shuns the Place." And I picked this song mainly because that's the opening line of the hymn as well. The melody, there's lots of melodies to it, and there's one in particular. It's actually the one linked on your website in particular. It's very singable. It's very easy. Even the YouTube link, it has the lyrics posted, and the melody doesn't have anybody singing with it. So if you're in a church context where, say, you don't have a piano player or you don't have a guitarist, that particular link would be helpful. And I really liked the language about the believer truly shunning and avoiding and staying away from the seat of scoffers, essentially. And so that I brought that one in at number 5. And of course, Isaac Watts appears a lot on that list. No surprise there. But that was number 5 for me.
Perfect. I will be giving Isaac Watts a shout out in a few minutes myself. At number 5, I have a song by Pete Crockett called "So We Trust in the Lord." Pete recorded it. He also wrote the lyrics, written to the traditional Scottish tune of Loch Lomond. The song's chorus and main idea come from Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. But verse 1 sets up the song, and it comes from Psalm 1:3. The verse says, "He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that brings forth its fruit in its season, whose leaf also shall not wither, and whatever he does shall prosper." The song lyric takes that concept and says, "We will be like a tree planted by running streams, for whose roots spread throughout deepest waters, so we won't be afraid when a year of drought descends, for we'll bear plenty fruit in each season." For the best songs, it doesn't matter if there's a big production or a single instrument. This song is so good that I didn't realize until maybe the 10th listen that there is an uilleann pipe on the intro, like some of the turnarounds. Other than that, most of the song is a single voice and acoustic guitar all the way through. And this song is just such a good song that I didn't feel the lack of anything else. And that's a mark of a pretty good song. So that's what I have at number 5.
I liked that one too. And it would have, had we done like a top 15, that one definitely would have made like a top 15 for me. And if we were doing a Proverbs 3 series, it would be really high on a Proverbs 3 list for me.
Agreed. Interesting trivia. Pete Crockett has, I believe he now lives in a different country, but while he lived in Scotland, he was a member of the New Scottish Hymns Band, who we've featured here before.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So he has some cool connections.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
So Pastor Chad, what do you have at number 4?
At number 4, another one from a new guy that I had never heard of. I had "Blest" by Brent McCune. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. Honestly, the thing that it is most mind-boggling to me about this particular song is I think Brent McCune on YouTube only has like 94 followers. And I look for that to change in the near future, because this guy can write a good song. I liked this song in particular because it was the melody to it is very singable, but it's meditative. And there's all different types of melodies for Psalm 1 songs, but it's such a good psalm to think about and meditate on, and because the language is built right into it. Blessed is the one who delights in the law of the Lord and meditates on it day and night. And Brent has done such a good job on this song musically drawing us in to truly meditate on how blessed is the one who delights in the law of the Lord and does not sit in the seat of scoffers. So I look for his name to pop up some more. I had never heard of him until doing research for this episode, and I look forward to hearing more of his stuff as it comes out. And it's very simple. It's just him and an acoustic guitar. Is really, really good stuff.
There's a surprising amount of the best artists, or not the best, a surprising amount of excellent artists who have fewer than 100, fewer than 200 followers on YouTube or Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
There's some really good material out there that almost nobody knows.
Yeah. One of the lines in that song that I'll just that
Sure.
stuck out to me was towards the end. The lyric is, "He'll be like a tree planted by the streams, bearing fruit in its own times. His leaves never fade, growing greener every day, and in everything he does, he thrives. This is what it means to be alive." And I particularly liked that picture because it's not just being planted by a stream one-time event, but it's something that we continue to grow in. And the longer we're planted there, the more green and the more fruit-bearing our lives become. And so I liked how he communicated the picture of longevity, that being planted by the stream is not, okay, now I'm planted by the stream, I'm set to go for the rest of my life, but we need to remain there. So I loved that picture.
Neat. My number 4 is a bit of a different feel musically. I also recognize that there's some advantage in pulling a variety of musical interpretations, variety of musical styles here. And so at number 4, I have How Blessed is the Man, written by Jody Killingsworth and recorded by My Soul Among Lions. It's an energetic, minor key Americana take on Psalm 1. Bluegrassy, but not quite, so I'll call it Americana, led by guitar and banjo. But if you take the catchy arrangement and the cool production away, underneath it's still a fundamentally good song.
Yeah.
If you just have it played by a piano, it's still a good song. Piano in, say, a small church. The lyric is well crafted. It's grounded in the psalm. The melody is memorable. The chorus soars. I would have to take it down a couple keys for congregational. It's recorded in G minor. I'd have to take it into E minor, but that's doable. It's a small enough range that it would work congregationally. And even though I have this at number 4, my number 3 and number 2 are both more artist songs than congregational songs. So really, this is one of the top 2 candidates I'd really consider introducing if I were to be introducing something congregational specifically from this psalm.
Yeah, I had never heard of My Soul Among the Lions and until doing research for this episode. And I'll have a song from them on our kind of hat tip runners up list.
Neat.
Good stuff.
As I've been preparing notes for the first 10 episodes, they keep popping up over and over. This isn't their only good psalm treatment. They have a whole string of really good psalm treatments.
Yeah.
So I anticipate we'll hear more from them soon.
Yeah. So that puts me at number 3.
I believe so.
And so number 3 is The Man is Blessed by Crown and Covenant is who performs it. The melody will be very familiar to anybody because it's the same melody as I Sing the Mighty Power of God. I love that melody. That's one of my favorite melodies. And I liked this one because it was a little bit more up-tempo, is a little bit more anthemic. Because while we need to meditate on God's law and delight in it, hopefully that as believers, that's also our anthem, and that we're proclaiming very proudly and straightforward that we delight in the law of the Lord. This particular song is built primarily around the first half of the psalm, and a lot of the lyrics are really just the words of the psalm set to music, and it's really good. Part of the reason why I picked it was the two main reasons why I picked it were, one, it would be a good song to sing simply to memorize the song and to have an emphasis and a focus on the meaning of the text. And secondly, how singable it is, because it's going to be sung to such a familiar melody that so many people will know. So that's why I put it in at number 3.
At number 3, I have a song called Planted by the River, written by Dana Dirksen and recorded by her artist, Songs for Saplings. She's a mother of 6 and creator of that project. And this is a kid song. 1 verse, 1 chorus. 1 minute, 4 seconds, then it's over. But I went through 201 settings of Psalm 1, and at the end of going through 201, this was one of those where just my second or third listen through, you say the name, and I'm humming it or singing it. It's catchy. I'm a little tree planted by the river. I am a child of God, grounded in the Word. Jesus is the Word. Jesus is the river. Jesus is the giver of life eternally. There's a tremendous value to a simple song that stays with you, and this one does. So I put it at number 3. Pastor Chad, what do you have at number 2?
So at number 2, let me put in a footnote there real quick. There were several songs on this list from children's albums. The Songs for Saplings was a good one, and then also there were a couple. Is it Patchy the Pirate?
Patch the Pirate.
Patch the Pirate. That's it. Those children's albums
for me too
are great. They're so good. I'm like, man, where was this? Where was this when I was coming up? I'm sure it was there. I just didn't listen to it.
Songs for Saplings is newer. Ron Hamilton was, I think he was primarily popular in independent fundamental Baptist circles. Okay, so we just weren't in the right circles to be as aware of it.
Yeah. So the second one will be from an artist who you've had on. So if you the name Jamie Souls, if anybody remembers that interview, I'd encourage you to go listen to that interview. His song simply titled Psalm 1. The performance video of him is just him and a guitar, just Jamie Souls and a guitar, and it's excellent. I liked this song. And the reason why it stood out to me the most was because a lot of the songs that were really good, a lot of them were the words of the psalm, which hopefully nobody is mishearing me. Simply singing the words of the scriptures are great and wonderful. But what stuck out to me the most about this song was it's almost like Jamie took the time to try to truly explain. There was a little bit more meat of his own exegesis and explanation of the text. And not only does it sing really well, just theologically, it's just really, really good. I've listened to, I had never heard of Jamie Souls until I listened to you interview him. And I've listened to quite a bit of his stuff since then. And he's got another song from this particular psalm. But Psalm 1 by Jamie Souls is just really, really top shelf. It's really good.
He's a very thoughtful writer, and this is showing up in my runners up here in a few minutes. Definitely. At number 2, I have a song called Like a Tree by Cobb. This song is energetic and fun. It brings out the joy that we should feel if we delight in the Word of God, and it waters us like a tree planted by the river. I haven't asked her about this song, but I get the feeling she probably wrote it as an artist piece primarily and wasn't specifically focused on writing a congregational song. I do think it would be a great special music in many congregations, and especially in those that are guitar-led, it might also work congregationally.
So I actually have that as my number 1.
Neat.
I love this song. From the first time that I heard it, I've listened to it. I can't even begin to count how many times I've listened to her Psalms album in general is really good. Cobb is she's such a good songwriter. She's such a good lyricist. Her melodies are great. It's just fantastic. Same as what you said. It's very energetic and fun. I think in the right context, it could probably be done congregationally. I think in our context, it maybe, like on a Sunday, if I led from the guitar, I could probably pull it off.
It'd be more of a challenge in a traditional context.
It would be. But it would definitely be a song worth learning. And one of the reasons why it stuck out to me, again, was the artistic flair of the melody and the way that she interprets the mood of the psalm with the melody. And then the words, she does a really good job in this particular song blending together both explanation and quotation, where in sections there's explanation of the text, and then in other sections there's quotation of the text. And I really appreciated that balance that she brought to it. It's excellent.
So my number 1 is another song with the same name, also called Like a Tree. My number 1 song is Like a Tree, the version written by Graham Kendrick, Steph Macleod, and Noel Robinson. and
Mm-hmm.
recorded by Graham Kendrick and Steph Macleod. Graham Kendrick's the author of Knowing You and Shine Jesus Shine.
Yep.
Steph Macleod, at least I first came across through his work with the New Scottish Hymns Band as well. So I have two New Scottish Hymns alumni on my list here. Although in this case, they're both works they've done since their time with New Scottish Hymns. There are so many excellent songs from Psalm 1 that it's a really hard call for me to which one to put at number 1. So I use as my tiebreaker which is the best congregational song, with a bias toward my context, a fairly traditional context. We're singing a fair number of traditional hymns as well as some modern ones.
Mm-hmm.
But whether it's a traditional congregation or a more contemporary one, I think congregations can and will really latch onto this one.
Mm-hmm.
There are slow settings to this psalm, fast settings to this psalm. This one is mid-tempo. It rolls along, and it feels to me kind of like a gently flowing stream.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, as we talked a little bit about the different musical aspects, bring out different elements of this psalm, I think you can have slow-moving water. I think you can have a fast-moving torrent of water. But this mid-tempo, gently flowing stream of this song does seem to bring out something that's really suitable, really nice in this psalm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So let's move on to a new segment. I hinted at it a few minutes ago. I'm going to call it the Retuning Challenge. These are lyrics that we really think could use a retuning or a new melody. It's really simple. We'll name the song, then we'll quote a verse or two, and let these words speak for themselves. I think we both have 3 songs we're going to shout out that we really like the lyrics and we think they could maybe use a new melody. So why don't you, if you don't mind, kick us off?
Sure. The first one that I'll mention is "Blest's the Man Who's Upright Walking," by I'm assuming it's probably Johann Christian Jacobi and Paul Gerhardt.
I'm not an expert on German names, so your guess is as good as mine.
Me neither. I had a mentor in my life who used to always say it like you know what you're talking about. Everybody else was probably going to just be like, oh, that's how that's pronounced. Okay. I'll just read the first verse and kind of let that stand on its own. Hopefully I can stop there. Blest's the man whose upright walking contradicts ill counselors, nor gives ear to sinners talking, but their wicked ways abhors, who removes with care his feet from the place where scoffers meet, and whose heart is wholly given to obey the laws of heaven. I just, the flow, honestly, I could even see myself using those lyrics just poetically in a worship service sometime. Just really, really thoughtful lyric writing, I thought.
There's a lot of good lyric writing out of this song.
Mm-hmm.
The one I have at number 3 is the one I'm not sure if it's the same as the Crown and Covenant. That Man Is Blessed by C. Harold Loudon, a 1917 lyric. And it does fit the meter by Sing the Mighty Power, so we'll see. The lyric is the first couple verses. That man is blessed who, fearing God, from sin restrains his feet, who will not stand with wicked men, who shuns the scorner's seat. That man is blessed who makes God's law his portion and delight, and meditates upon that law with gladness day and night.
Mm. Yeah, that's a good one.
What do you have at number 2?
Number 2, I had "Oh Blessed Is He, Divinely Blessed" by Thomas Blaylock. And I couldn't even find the lyrics printed anywhere. I could only find photographs of scanned pages. And so let me do my best to read just a couple of the lines here. He says, though they should fall, they rise again. Thy hand supports them still. The Lord delights to see their ways. Their virtue he approves. He'll ne'er deprive them of his grace, nor leave the men he loves. The heavenly heritage is theirs, their portion in their home. He keeps them now and makes them heirs of blessings long to come. And then he goes on to talk about the haughty sinner and those types of things. But I liked those lyrics because he kind of picks up on the result of being somebody who is planted by the stream, meditating on the law of the Lord and obeying God's word.
So you mentioned Isaac Watts earlier. I mentioned I'd bring him up in a few minutes, and here's where I have him. I have him at number 2. And I would also consider this as the best paraphrase, because there are songs that are inspired by a psalm, songs that even try to have a number of different references to a psalm. A paraphrase really tries to bring in every half a verse. Every couplet, every thought becomes a thought in the paraphrase. And I think of the paraphrases, Isaac Watts' "The man is ever blessed" is quite possibly the best. It's certainly one of the best. It says, "The man is ever blessed who shuns the sinner's ways, amidst their counsels never stands, nor takes the scorner's place, but makes the law of God his study and delight, throughout the labors of the day and watches of the night." What do you have at number 1, Pastor Chad?
At the number 1, and forgive me, I'm not going to be able to read any of the lyrics because I didn't print them, and I'm having a hard time pulling them up. But it's under 2 different titles. One title is "Joy Unspeakable." The opening line is "Blessed are they who early seek," by Fanny Crosby.
I can
This
pull
one
it up.
may have a do what?
I can pull it up and read a verse for you.
Yeah. The opening line, one of the reasons why this song caught me, was that opening line where she says, "Blessed are they that early seek." I'm blanking on the hymn title. Once I start to quote the lyrics, I know you'll be able to help me on the hymn title. But there's a hymn where the line is, "Early let us seek thy favor, early let us do thy will." Early let us seek thy favor. I'm blanking
Savior
on that.
like a shepherd lead us.
Savior like a shepherd lead us. Thank you.
That's a setting of Psalm 23, actually.
Yeah. And one of the things that I pray often for my daughter, and that I pray often for your children, is that early in life that they would seek the favor of the Lord. And so same here, like that line kind of picks up. People get saved in all walks of life at all times of life, but my prayer is that early in life that people would seek to be planted by the stream. Amen. So this was a song that I thought was very prayerful in how I would pray for people.
"Blessed are they who early seek, for early their souls shall find Jesus, who came on earth to bring salvation to all mankind."
Yeah. I mean, there's few who can write a lyric like Fanny Crosby.
No question. Although, it's funny because we have at the final 3 here, I had Isaac Watts, you have Fanny Crosby. If there's one other writer whose name goes up there with them, not that I share every point of theology with him, but I can definitely acknowledge his greatness in many lyrics, and here, you got to throw Charles Wesley into that mix.
Charles Wesley, yep.
And I couldn't help but also throw in Charles Wesley's treatment of Psalm 1 into my top 3 here. It's called "Delight in the Word." And the first verse says, "When quiet in my house I sit, thy book be my companion still. My joy thy sayings to repeat, talk o'er the records of thy will, and search the oracles divine, till every heartfelt word be mine." I love what he brought out in this psalm.
Mm-hmm. So,
Pastor Chad, I believe you have a few runners up, and what do you have as your runners up here?
Yeah, I'll just mention the title and the performer.
Yeah,
so the first runner up that I had was "Blessed Are They," subtitled Psalm 1 by Nathan Clark George. "Their Delight" by Kyron Young Wimberly and the McGraths. "Night and Day," there's "My Soul Among the Lions." "Your Word, O Lord," Chris Pierce and Resound Worship, and "His Delight" by Matt Papa.
So we have several overlaps there. I have, as my runners-up would include Psalm 1 Tree by Jamie Souls. That's his energetic version of Psalm 1. I have His Delight by Matt Papa. And I have Their Delight by Kieran Young Wimberly and the McGraths. I also have a number of runners-up. I have a Psalm 1 by Schweitzer Creative. Watch Over My Steps on the Way by Pete Crockett. Happy the Man by Bill Monaghan. Psalm 1, Blessed is the One by Jeff Lowe. Psalm 1, That Man Hath Perfect Blessedness by Brian Suave. Psalm 1, Blessed is the Man by Abe and Lisa Phillip. And Streams of Water by Scripture Memory Fellowship. They're more so than in many other psalms. There's just a wealth of good songs from this psalm. That's a blessing. So, Pastor Chad, you have a book, and can you mention that book and where people can follow you online?
Yeah, the book title is Communing with God. If you just Google that title and my name, it'll take you to the store where you can find it. And then the only social media platform I use is Facebook. mainly so I can manage our church's Facebook account. But you can find me on Facebook. If you could also just message me for a copy of the book as well.
Thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I always enjoy it.
I do too. And listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend and subscribe to catch future episodes. You can also find past episodes and the free 70,000 entry Expository Songs searchable database at expositorysongs.com. Thank you for listening.